I do really love Marvel Rivals, and I would love to jump back in and play more. Honestly, I was really hoping to get Daddy Colossus in the game. That is my, like, that's my gooner. Like, give me bearded Colossus, give me draped in fur Colossus, Daddy Colossus, yes, fuck! Alright, so we're back at it again. You know, Awen's back in here just trying to jam out with his so-called clam out. So we are going to be working on building up the city more. I mean, that's the goal, right? Until something actually happens in the story. We'll keep checking in with the mayor. We'll keep checking in at town hall, see if anything moves us. I mean, obviously we are getting trainers to show up. We are getting people who like want to show out at our gym. So I do hope that we get more buildings than this though at some point. But yeah, overall, in the last episode, we just challenged gym leaders. We started building up the city. You know, they told us that we leveled up to rank 1 gym leader. And if you want to check out the last video, it's in the comments. We talked a bit about, you know, putting an effort in yourself and trying to be better and, you know, put in the work. Don't give up just because things aren't happening for you. The more you work towards it, the better you'll be. And yeah, I mean, like, that's the motif of like really how I feel about things right now. Like, I am not a professional at this. I am very much, I don't even know I could say I'm an amateur at this, but I want to learn. I want to get good. And I would love to commentate with people. I riff way better with people than I do by myself. And I'm trying to find that riffing. Ooh, apparently the mic wanted to be in my mouth. But I'm sorry, I don't really want it in my mouth. We are getting to the point where actually going out there and putting an effort is going to be necessary. We might actually be giving away our first gym badge. Maybe not. I mean, obviously, I am playing this a bit childish in the fact that I was so over leveled that I didn't have to actually think about what I'm doing. But at this point, we're seeing a lot of grass mons. And I don't know of any fairies that are, I don't think there are any fairies that are fire, are there? None come to mind, but if you know a fire fairy, drop it in the comments. I might just be overlooking it at the moment. And yeah, but we do need something that's gonna go good into grass. And I'm trying to think, is there a fairy flying that maybe I could think of, but nothing's coming to mind. I mean, the only thing that's coming to mind is Toga Kiss, and that's some work right there. Hopefully I get a re-heal. The paralyzed, unhealed Curlia is just gonna die. Oh, we start fresh. You know, I didn't pay attention to that whole last episode. What was really going on, so I'm kind of surprised we start fresh. I'm hoping we get some story movement in this one, and it's not just slugging through trainers, because at the moment it's feeling like a modified version of like Pokerogue, which we could play that too at some point. I mean, I've got tons of games that I'd love to play with y'all. I mean, at the end of the day, like, I enjoy Pokemon. I don't think there's too many games out there like Pokemon ROM hacks, Pokemon, you know, mainstay games that I wouldn't like to play and learn, maybe find some challenges for. I'd love to do, you know, mystery dungeons stuff at some point too, and find some challenge runs on them, because I don't know, I think challenge runs make things more fun, more energetic, more intense, and I think the only reason I didn't do a challenge run with this is like I had no clue what I was jumping into, and so far I feel like I have bumbled it. At this point forward though, I think I want to make this a Nuzlocke. I think I do want to just say, you know, if Amon dies, it's dead. It's a little bit hard when you only have a handful of Mons you can select from, but it's better than... Actually, that might be a hard thing to say too, because going in the wilds might just torture us. You know what? I'm just gonna say in the future we will Nuzlocke this for sure. That is a guarantee. We will Nuzlocke this for sure. I can't say this run I will, because at some point I do want to enjoy the gameplay and I don't want to just reset when I haven't beat the game. But on another note, because we're on hiatus with the Fakemon Spotlights, I am going to add another series to our weekly pool that I originally started as a stream, and I was going to waylay until we finished our gym series, but now I'm just going to bring it back, and it's our gym lock, and it is a team doubles only gen lock. There will not be single fights as far as I can see. As long as I'm allowed, it's going to be doubles, because at the end of the day, in my mind, it's about training to be good enough to hypothetically go and, you know, go to a regional, have fun, but win a few matches. I am by no means a good Pokemon trainer. I have for sure played these games more for fun and, you know, relaxing when I was growing up, and, you know, now, I mean, I still enjoy them for fun, but I think I've gotten more into the idealism of, like, I want some difficulty in when I play. I don't want to just make it super easy. I think that's why I fell in love with FromSoft games. It took me a while, though. It took me a long while, because I remember when Dark Souls 2 came out, my buddy was like, yo, you gotta play Dark Souls, you gotta, it's so good. And I was like, I don't want to hit my head against pavement, man, like, that doesn't sound fun to me. And he was like, no, you don't get it, like, it gets good, it gets really good. And I'm like, all right, I feel that, but also it's supposed to be one of the hardest games out there, and I don't want to hit my head against pavement. Eventually he convinced me, and I played Dark Souls 1 all the way to the end, and was surprised how much I enjoyed it. But I couldn't beat Gwen because he kind of convinced me that parrying is the only way to beat Gwen. I still to this day don't know. I'm in the middle of a Dark Souls Remastered run. I guess I'll find out when I get there. I'm currently on, you know, the good old Smog and Ornstein and Smog. And you know, they're a little bit harder than the first time I actually fought them. I don't know what I'm doing differently, but I remember when I first fought them, like, he had said they were the hardest bosses in the game, and it took me 7 or 8 tries to beat them, and I was like, they're considered hard. Like, I feel like I did more runs on Quaalig than I did. Is it Quaalig? I think it's Quaalig. I think I did more on her than I did on Ornstein and Smog. Like, I don't have any potions. Fine. We will just do a switcheroo. I mean, Bloom needs it anyways. Bloom is so underleveled. Wait, was that like that before? I feel like it was, and I just completely missed it. You know what would be the craziest thing? Is if Askew could learn Dazzling Beam. I don't think it can, but I would 100% have a Haxorus that, you know, on my team if I could get it to learn. I actually wonder, are there any dragons that learn Dazzling Gleam? Unlikely, because obviously Fairy is super effective into dragons, which is why I chose to train here. But you know, if it is, I would add a dragon to me. I think my top 5 for typings are Fairy, Ghost, Dragon, Fairy Ghost Dragon, Psychic, and Fire, I would say. And because of that, obviously I wouldn't mind having any of them on the team if they can learn a move. I mean, I think so, you know, obviously there's tons of rumors about what they might do with Gen 10, where they might go with Gen 10. And I think one of the biggest, like one of the strangest rumors, but like most intriguing rumors I've heard, and I don't dabble in leaks, but rumors is just a conversation in my mind because it doesn't mean it's true and it doesn't ruin anything about the game. But it is the fact that they might switch out the, you know, typing. Like we might, hypothetically, someone, a lot of people were, well, not a lot of people, someone was saying that I had read that we might move away from grass, fire, water. I think that would be very interesting. I'm not sure I'm for it, but I think it would be interesting. I mean, it depends on what we get. Like, I think Unbound, which I only played a very little of, made a strong case for the fact that as long as you still have that rock, paper, scissors mentality to the starters, it's totally works. But, I mean, oh man, I don't want PP of it. Alright, it might be his Sap Sipper. God, you're kidding me. Alright. Him boy? Let's go, him boy! I'm wondering if, like, it only gets to nighttime after you get to a certain point. I mean, they gave you the cop's number for some reason, so, like, maybe they play a role in the story and like, ooh, Bloom is evolving, Flababy to Floet. That is one thing I am excited to see, as well as AZ is back in Legends, back in Legends. What are you most excited about with Legends EA? Like, I asked this question the other day as a post, but do you think we'll get mounts, or do you think it's so free roam as like the child player that there are no mounts? It's just like, maybe we'll get wall climbing or something. That'd be kind of cool. You know, or maybe jumping. I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like the standard mechanics of Pokemon haven't really changed a whole lot. I mean, Legends EA obviously changed, or Legend Arceus obviously changed it somewhat. But at the end of the day, do we think that we would get mounts? Do we think we're getting totally new mechanics to mobility? Is more so, I guess, my thought process of it. It's like getting mechanics that oh, I can't in here. Oh, yo, that's crazy. Okay. But I mean, I would like to see the evolution of the game a little bit more. I know a lot of creators were talking about, you know, being content with going back to the two-dimensional style, and I'm not completely against it, but I'm not like for it per se either. Like, I like the 3D. I enjoyed playing Scarlet and Violet. I bought it late because I knew there were going to be problems with it. I mean, I did not buy Legends Arceus late, and I was surprised that it was as fluid as it was. But knowing that Sword and Shield kind of suffered when it first came out, I just expected Scarlet and Violet to suffer a little bit. But I love the free roam capabilities of it. I think since they've made the updates, it's gotten so much easier to play. I've played through it multiple times on Switch, and I've never had too many issues. I mean, I've had certain glitches happen, I mean, but I think all games in the modern era have glitches. Like, you're gonna find glitches. People aren't perfectionists like they used to be, and even, I shouldn't say they used to be, because I remember, you know, back in the day, one of the most fun glitches in any game that I recall playing was in Call of Duty 2, not Modern Warfare 2. I have to make clear, I'm talking about Call of Duty 2 for Xbox 360, and probably was on PlayStation 3. But there was a glitch where you could, if you got a friend, you could jump on your friend's head and then jump outside the map, and then you go under the map and you could shoot people under the map. And it was so much fun whenever you do a custom match with friends and do that. Honestly, that was one of my favorite games. It was one of the only games that I was considered highly regarded competitive with. And I don't know that I'll ever get to the point where I get to a competitive level with games again. I would actually, Pokemon is one of the only games that I think I would love to. Marvel Rivals, I really wanted to when it started, but I struggled with where I'm at in the game, so I kind of moved that thought process aside. Maybe temporarily, maybe forever, I don't know. I still enjoy the game. I still play it every now and then. I am excited about Emma Frost. I think, as an X-Men fan, I am excited about Emma Frost. But as a... Wait. Is Swoobat fairy flying? Because that might actually be the fix to our team. And if it's not fairy flying, can it learn Dazzling Gleam? Because it might be able to. But I think the people who are more interested in Emma Frost are the Gooner community. It's sad that they felt like they needed to make her 10 billion times thicker than... Like, I'm not going to say Emma's not thick in the comics. I'm not going to say that, you know, they couldn't have gave her some thickness, but they gave her all the thickness, and, like, they did not stop. And it's clear that it was for the Gooner community. Me, myself, I'm a Vanguard maid when I play. I hard main Groot, but because I actually have an X-Men character as a tank, I would 100%, technically I should say, she's not an X-Men character, she's a Marauder. She was only an X-Men during the John Hickman run. And to be honest, if you love comic books and you haven't read or listened to that run of comic books, Hickman's run is by far one of the greatest comic book runs in the X-Men's history. It is phenomenal, and I recommend it to absolutely everyone. If you don't want to read it, Rob from Comics Explained has a phenomenal series on it, easy to listen to. You can listen to it at the gym. That is what I did. I recommend it wholeheartedly. I did start purchasing the comics to read it myself because I enjoyed it so much. I will say Hickman is, the way that I said it with my friend is, Jeff Johns was considered the great during the DC like rebirth era in comic books over, 10 years ago, and he's still I would assume still somewhat highly regarded because he did get moved up in the company to, like, I don't know, CCO or something, something along those lines. I thought it was like Chief Creative Officer or something, but since then I've kind of, I don't know, I fell off the wagon when it came to what is it called? Metal? Something? Dark Knight Metal or something? I'm trying to remember what it's called. I might honestly be giving a badge here. This guy did his work. He deserves to get a badge. But maybe not today. So it might be time to put in more work. What? Expecting me to pout or whine? Ace Trainers get beat too. I think it was called like Dark Knight Metals or something like that, or DC Metal or something. When they brought in all the Jokers, I kind of fell off the bandwagon there. The only thing that really kind of kept my interest for a little while was the idea of what is it, the Midnight Clock or something, that was like supposed to like reference the return of Dr. Manhattan and how he affects the DC universe. And I kind of fell off at that point and just moved on with my life. I don't hate DC Comics. I still love DC Comics. They're still some of my favorite comic books. For years, I've been hoping for a buddy cop movie with Booster Gold and Blue Beetle, Ted Kord, not the one that we just got, but the original that didn't have the Scarab Beetle active. Not that I do not like that version of the Blue Beetle. He's actually very entertaining in the Teen Titans comics and the Teen Titans show. Not the live action, but not Teen Titans, Young Justice. But it wasn't, well, that's perfect. It wasn't something I wanted to go out of the way for, especially knowing that James Gunn is just rebooting their universe. But all of this started because of my point to say that me and a friend, when we were talking about Marvel Comics and relating it to great writers in the comic book community, we had both come to the conclusion that Jonathan Hickman is the much better variant of Jeff Johns. Not saying Johns is bad. I personally love Jeff Johns. The only thing he did wrong to me as a comic book writer is he took away what made Billy Batson engaging as a reader, in my opinion. His pure heart is everything I always read. Floette does not want to live. His pure heart is what drew me to the character. And then the second that they took him away and made him an angsty teenager, I think it diluted the character. I watched the movie that was based on Jeff Johns' run, and I thought it was all right. I was kind of surprised that it sold as well as it did. If I'm going to pay credence to anything, I'm going to say that Chuck, because I don't remember his name. Chuck was the whole reason why Chuck and Mark Strong are the two reasons that entire thing really went off, in my opinion. Like, they both are phenomenal actors, and they carried that movie, even with its not terrible. I wouldn't say it's a terrible script. I would just say it's mediocre. It dilutes the character. And some people might disagree with me, but I personally feel like it dilutes the character. I mean, I'm still one of the same people who also says that Fawcett City suing, or DC suing, I don't remember what DC was called at the time, but what is now known as DC Comics suing Fawcett City Comics and saying that Captain Marvel, i.e. Shazam, I guess IE is not the right thing there, aka Shazam, is the same as Superman. It's just a bold-faced lie. I mean, like, drawing-wise, sure, the art was similar. Character, personality-wise, I mean, personality, I guess you could say the Boy Scout, maybe a little bit, but you have the duality of how it was originally written where, you know, Cap and Billy were kind of two separate entities in the same body, and he was given this champion's ability to, you know, become older, become powerful, but he wasn't overall the like hero he was bound to be. So I don't know, like I'm still like on Fawcett's side, that I think that they kind of grabbed the goat and kind of got chewed out. But yeah, so that's the only thing Jeff Johns has done, in my opinion, that has kind of dissuaded me from his work, because otherwise his Aquaman run is what made Aquaman good. It's what made people want, like, if people liked Aquaman 1, it's what made them like Aquaman 1, the movie, because a lot of the comic books that were being written besides Justice League, I would even say Man of Steel. Justice League and Man of Steel were heavily influenced by Jeff Johns' writings. Not necessarily one for one, but heavily influenced by his runs of the comics. And to be honest, I think the ones that we lost out on the most that never got made is his Green Lantern run. Because his Green Lantern run of Into Brightest Day is incredible. It is phenomenal. Again, if you do not want to read the books or do not want to purchase them, but you are interested in comic books and would love to hear a great story, I would be highly surprised if you could not find that on Comics Explained or Comicstorian. Both are incredible artists, or incredible relayers of comic book detail. I really enjoy Rob from Comics Explained. He's always been my go-to. But I did back in the day watch Benny here and there. I have heard, rest in peace, that Benny passed last year. And I believe there are other people taking over for him. But I think if you want to listen, I'm pretty sure Benny, there was an actual recording with Benny from Brightest Day, and he had a very good personality as well and fit for retelling comic books. So yeah, I mean, highly recommend, you know, if you're a comic book fan and you want to get into the comic side of it, but you don't want to spend the money, those two creators are leaps and bounds, like the best of the best. I still to this day listen to Rob when I'm working out. I still listen, you know, to comic books every now and when I'm working out. It just depends on the book and the time. And Rob doesn't just cover comics, he also talks about the movies. He even asks questions about, you know, he divulges into just about everything that deals with comic books. And he's just great. He's an enjoyable person to watch and would recommend. But my whole point of this in the beginning was, like, I do really love Marvel Rivals, and I would love to jump back in and play more. Honestly, I was really hoping to get Daddy Colossus in the game. That is that's my gooner. Like, give me bearded Colossus, give me draped in fur Colossus, Daddy Colossus, yes, God! That is what I want. But I don't know that we'll get that. I would love to see it, but I don't know that we'll get it. At the end of the day, I'm excited. I'm probably one of the people that feels like, I would say I have a skewed perspective on this. I was talking with a friend just the other day who was saying that, you know, he was listening to a podcast and they're talking about how, you know, the age of superhero movies is dwindling and that game movies is going to become the next future of movies. And I think what I told him verbatim was, I don't think it's the end of comic book movies at all. I don't think we're close to that. I think what's going to happen is we're going to have ebbs and flows where people are interested and not interested, and I personally think that Marvel Rivals is drawing the interest back to the MCU, along with, in my opinion, Daredevil Born Again. If you haven't watched it, it's incredible. Please go watch it. It feels like the Netflix show, and the Netflix show was everything and more of what I wanted for Daredevil. Daredevil is one of my favorite Marvel comic book characters of all time. He will always be one of my favorite Marvel characters of all time, and so I wholeheartly recommend going and watching Daredevil Born Again. It ended actually, but you know, it ended after this premieres, because this will premiere later this week, and you know, but yes, I wholeheartedly recommend it. I will say I'm stumped at where they're ending, and we're going to end on the gym again. We are around that time, and I figured let's give it one more go. Yeah, so at the end of the day, I am a big comic book nerd. I am also a big anime nerd. I will talk about that a lot. I, again, would love at some point to, you know, do a cage lock or do something with other creators that are smaller. I would love to build my own little community of creators that, you know, has interest in working together and trying to build each other up. Because at the end of the day, a community that's willing to build together and grow together is something that's strong enough to, you know, develop and actually get out there. I think we often have a lot of, in society now, have a lot of people who are just like, me. I am more of a we. I know how ridiculous that sounds, but I think, you know, when you think of the collective more than yourself, you have a higher chance of really doing great things. A buddy of mine, I have tried to build a writing community for years. I have tons of friends who are phenomenal writers, but they have other things going on in their life, and they've convinced themselves that they don't have time for it. I myself have done this in the past, and I'm currently in a state of, like, I wouldn't say writer's block, but writer's stall, because, like, I know where I want to go in the story, but I'm stuck in a point where, you know, I'm not quite sure how to reach that point. But it doesn't mean that I'm giving up. And I think that's the same thing as, like, I would like to build a community of creators as well that helps each other, builds each other up. How can we benefit together? Because at the end of the day, raising tides lift all ships, and that's the goal. It's like I want people who want to grow together and have fun together. And if you're interested and you see this, you know, DM me, Instagram, or on YouTube. You know, I am more than open to, you know, setting something up. Like, I genuinely have fun creating for people, and I want to work with people who genuinely have fun creating as well. Like, actually, I shouldn't say I genuinely have fun creating for people, because that's not necessarily true. It's not untrue. It's just I enjoy creating. Like, the act of creating is fun to me. The act of, like, thinking through plans is fun to me. I realized recently when going through a one-shot with a friend that I've been a forever how much for one gym badge, not for sale. Oh my god. So I realized when being the player character for once in a friend's game that I much prefer being the yeah, that was expected. I much prefer being the DM than being the player, because I like the aspect of creating the world, but I also like the aspect of, oh man, this guy's gonna get a badge. Oh man. He's getting a badge. He's 100% getting a badge. Yep, he got a badge. Wow, we just gave away our first badge, guys. That's crazy. To the end of the episode, and we gave away our first badge. Wow. All right, well, you win some, you lose some. I'll be honest, I don't know where I was at before I started talking, or before we lost that badge. So I'll figure it out and edit, and we will bring it back up in the next episode. I hope that you enjoy the series. If you do, like, comment, subscribe. It really does help. And I look forward to talking with you all in the future. Biggie out.